Hello there and welcome to The Meaningful Stitch. I'm Amy Palco and this is my mum Hilary. Long-time viewers might remember that she was on episode 30 when I visited my mum and dad last year in France. And so I've returned to France, and because you were all so lovely and welcoming before, I was able to persuade my mum to record another episode with me, and that's what we're doing today. So it's a special episode and we have a special segment coming up, which is going to be everything that my mum has knitted in 2023 so far. It's a lot. But before then, we're going to talk about what we're wearing. Yeah? Okay, so I am wearing my Rocket Tee, which is by Tanis Lavallee, and it is knitted in Isager Highland wool in the colourway Sky. Ooh. And remembered? And this wonderful speckled mohair is a Qing Fibre club colourway, actually, from I think their Spring Summer Club 2021, which is the only one I've signed up for, but it was a lot of fun. I got a random skein of hand-dyed mohair delivered every month, and this is one of those. So it was a good fun project. It's got beautiful eyelet detail along the raglan, and it has this lovely I-cord edging. And if you have been a viewer for a while, you might remember I've really struggled with my edging on this because I had originally cast it off using the mohair rather than the Highland wool, and it was a disaster. And then I decided at the edging I was going to do a 1x1 rib, and I was going to do what do you call the tubular cast-offs, and it was horrendous, so I had to rip that all back. And then finally I just did what the pattern said, and it worked out perfectly.
It's looking beautiful now.
Note to self. Sometimes just follow the pattern. But I'll show you here that the edging now is so neat with that Highland wool and the I-cord. So yes, just do what the pattern says, Amy. That's the trick. What are you wearing, Mum?
I am wearing the Pappus sweater by Midori Hirose, and I knitted it mainly in Isager tweed, but I only had 2 skeins, so I had to supplement it with some other tweed that I had, which was the Kate Davies Milarrochy tweed. Yeah. So I used one small 50-gram ball of that.
However,
extra.
they look almost identical,
they look
don't they?
Quite similar. It's quite hard to tell.
I think you said there was only like a little bit more of the dark
nubs. Yes,
yeah.
It has like charcoal white and sort of camel coloured slumps in it. Yeah. Yeah. And it was quite an unusual construction because you had to do a provisional cast on across the back, and then knit right up and cast off for the back neck, cast on for the front neck, knit right down until you got to the underarms. And also
the sleeves, yeah.
And also the the garter stitch edging on the sleeve was all done in one at the same time, using short rows for the body and obviously less rows for
the cuff.
And I'm really pleased with how it works out.
It fits you so well. It sits really nicely. I think you'd seen it on Lily's podcast, Curatorial Knits, and she was knitting a version for a friend, wasn't she?
So, yes.
As a gift.
Yes.
But you were saying this is the first time you've worn it.
It is the first time I've put it on.
And we seem to have accidentally, this is an accident by the way, we have accidentally coordinated with one another beautifully, so well done. Well done us. We are also wearing grey linen dresses, which was also a coincidence. We're not similar at all. But it is absolutely lovely. It's really beautiful, and it sits really well on your shoulders, and the neckline's lovely.
Yeah, it's very comfortable.
And it's like slightly oversized in that it's got some positive ease, so it looks like it'd be comfortable when the weather gets warmer.
That's good for me.
Yeah.
I don't
but
like
it's,
things that
but
are
it's
too
not.
tight.
Sometimes I think you get like a oversized top with a lot of positive ease that kind of just swamps you.
Yeah.
But that's not the case because there's a little bit more shaping as it comes in at the waist.
Yes.
It's very smart. It's really lovely. I'm very tempted now, so that's going to be one of my summer cast-ons. And like I said, we do have a special segment coming up, which is going to be everything that Mum knitted in 2023. I nearly said 2024.
Not yet.
That would be a good trick.
Not yet.
In 2023. And this is one of the most recent items that you've knitted in 2023.
I finished this most recently.
But we do have quite a lot more to show you on that front. But before we get to that, we're going to share what's on our needles just now. I have quite a lot on my needles, but it is all back in Scotland. So I'm going to record another episode when I get home, and I will share with you everything that I have back home. But I did want to cast on something to bring with me on the plane. So I didn't want metal needles, so I had to pop into Ginger Twist and get myself some wooden needles so I could take them comfortably on the plane and through security. And I also picked up from Ginger Twist this fantastic yarn here. That's not really showing up as a proper colour, is it? Do you think?
It looks a
little bit
paler,
yellow, more yellow and less green. This is the colourway Gorblimey, and it's her Splendid lace. It's our Splendid lace base, which is a BFL silk base, and it's lace weight. So there's 800 metres to 100 grams, so a pretty true lace weight. And with my bamboo tips for the plane, I cast on this. Now this is the Lucca scarf, and it's gosh, I've actually managed to get quite a lot done.
Yeah, you've done a lot already.
This is a beautiful design by Julie Hoover, and I cast it on as part of the Knitting Posse Mayak Julie Hoover knit along. So the invitation is to knit any Julie Hoover pattern, and I had a great time going through all of Julie's designs because she's got some really beautiful ones. Very classic, but with interesting details. I think you would really like some of them.
I don't really know them very well.
I'll need to go through them before I head home. But this is the one that I decided to knit, partially because I thought it would be good travel knitting, because it's a relatively straightforward pattern. The charts are quite small. You know, the symbols and the squares are quite small. So one of the things that I had to do was take my coloured pencils out and and I coloured in the details just so that I could see exactly which way the decreases were going and where the eyelets needed to sit on which side in order to be able to create this, particularly around about this section here when you've got the lines intersecting with one another. But once I did that, I kind of got the pattern into my head, and so now I don't really need to follow the pattern. I can kind of just follow where my eyelets are going. So that sped things up significantly.
Good for you.
Yeah.
I don't think I would manage that.
I think I've got about a third done of the whole piece. And like I said, it's being knitted as part of this knit along with the Knitting Posse. And they launched it, gosh, I've written it down. They launched it on the 22nd of April. It is going till the 17th of June. I will put down here the hashtag for that knit along so that you can follow that and you can join in as well. I think they had a Zoom launch party on the 22nd. However, we were at a party on the 22nd because Mum came over on the 20th.
Yes.
Because it was my grandma's 90th birthday on the 21st. Happy birthday, Grandma. And her party was on the 22nd, so we didn't get back from that until quite late. So I missed the launch party, but I did get to the birthday party. So, so yes, they had that, and I think they've got a progress Zoom, which I've got written down here, which is the 13th of May. So if you wanted to join in with that and knit along, then you could, and that would be a lovely fun thing to do, I think. So there we go. That's my Lucca scarf. It's going really well. I'm really pleased with it. And like I said, it's knitted in this Ginger Twist yarn. Jess of Ginger Twist, who is the owner and the dyer. She is going to be doing 2 trunk shows because she's in America just now. So she's back home visiting her parents, and then she's coming back home to Edinburgh. And she will be in Seattle, and she will be, excuse the noise, that was the heater. She will be in Seattle, and she'll be in Portland, Oregon. So Seattle will be, I've written it all down, the 6th of May from 10 a.m. till 6 p.m. And that's at the Acorn Street Shop. And then she'll be at Weird Sisters in Portland, Oregon, and that's from the 15th to the 21st of May. And Jess will be in the shop on the Tuesday, which is the 16th of May, 5 p.m. till 7 p.m. So if you can get along to either of those, I highly recommend it. You can go and see some of her beautiful colourways. They're always very vibrant and beautifully saturated shades, aren't they? Maybe you could even pick up a skein of Gorblimey or 2. But yes, I recommend that you go and check that out if you can. But that's not all we've been working on, because Mum and I have been working on a joint project.
A twin project.
A twin project, yes, it's a twin project. Because when I arrived, Mum had surprised me with a beautiful present of a kit from Miss Lamotte Yarns. And Miss Lamotte Yarns, the person behind Miss Lamotte Yarns is Karen Cronje. We think we might be pronouncing that wrong. Sorry, Karen. But Karen has designed this incredibly beautiful shawl, which features in this book here, which is Neons and Neutrals, published by Lina magazine, and it's curated by Amy Gilles, who is the creatrix behind La Bien-Aimée yarn. And so we had discussed how incredibly beautiful this shawl, this wrap here is. Is this called Geweef? Geweef. We googled the translation, the pronunciation, to see if we could pronounce it properly. I have a horrible feeling I've just completely mangled it. My apologies, but we did try.
It's our best effort.
It's our best effort. It's a bit sad, but there we go. And so Mum had picked up kits for both of us for this particular colourway here. And the yarn came from South Africa, which is where Karen is based. So,
Cape Town, I think.
Oh, Cape Town. Mm-hmm. So we have been thoroughly enjoying knitting on this. Shall we show them our progress?
Yeah.
So we cast on the day after I arrived, which was the 25th. And it starts with a I-cord cast on. So and then all the stitch count remains the same throughout the wrap, and you're knitting on the bias. So you're increasing at one end and decreasing at the other. And this is what we have so far. How amazing is that?
Snap!
Yay! Now, one thing that we have discovered is that it does require some concentration. This is not the kind of project we can just pick up and, well, actually, I would say the linen stitch section now
is a little easier.
Yeah, so let's talk you through some of the sections. So like I said, we've got this I-cord cast on here, and then you pick up your stitches along, and then you move into this linen stitch section here. Do you want to show our yarns while we're...
Okay.
So we start with Black Tahiti Pearl, and this is in the luster base, which is quite an interesting mix, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
We said it was merino, mohair, silk and polyamide.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a really lovely kind of silky blend,
it does
isn't
feel
it?
quite silky.
And but it still has a bit of a halo.
Mm.
So that's this lovely sort of denim-y blue. You were saying you expected it to be a bit darker.
I thought it would be more along the charcoal lines instead of blue, but it's very pretty.
But actually, I think it's going to look really good with jeans.
Mm-hmm. It really will.
And then after that, in the same base, we have this lovely kind of silvery shade here, this beautiful neutral, which has got lovely speckles in it. Mm-hmm. And it's in the same base, so it's the luster base as well. It's fabulous.
It's called driftwood.
Driftwood, that's right. And then after that, we've got this colourway here, which is so fun. Look at these beautiful speckles. And this is then the feather base, which is a merino nylon, and it's in the colourway Sun Glow, which so you can check out these beautiful speckles here. It's so much fun. I love the linen stitch because it really does create that kind of woven look, doesn't it?
Yes, it really does.
And then our last colourway is this one here, and that's the merino singles base, and that's in the colourway Coralice. So there we go, that's our colours. So we work through those to create this linen stitch section. And then we have a, what's it called? Like a vickle braid. Vickle braid. Which you can see there. So you've got this sort of row of stitches that are going horizontal rather than vertical. And that was the first time we've done that, isn't it?
We've learned a few things.
We have. We've been looking for YouTube tutorials to show us how to do things and learning new techniques, which has been really fun. I am slightly unsure as to whether this is supposed to be quite so loose on top of this row here, whether it's supposed to be quite so loose on top of the vickle braid, but it's consistent on mine, so we'll see. At least it's all loose. And then after that we have this transverse herringbone section, you see that, which is some more slit stitches. Then we have some stranded colour work, and actually that was the first time that I had done colour work on the purl side
on the flat.
So that was interesting. Because I realised that the way that I normally do colour work, which is to hold my yarn in two hands, so I throw with my right hand and I pick with my left hand, that wasn't going to work with purl on the purl side. So instead I held both my yarns in my right hand, and I had one strand on this side of my finger and one strand on this side, and I alternated my stitches.
Alternated.
Alternated. I quite like alternated. I alternated. But you didn't do that. What did you do?
I did what I usually do for one colour, which is just to throw it with my index finger, and then I use those two to put the other colour.
There you go. Because the thing is because it is kind of one by one, you know, you are consistently changing your yarn over, so you need to find some way of doing it that you create some flow, but also that you maintain your tension as well, you know. So yes, that was a learning curve. However, that was nothing compared to the learning curve that then came up, which was for our russamine section. A russamine is a technique. I've seen it in a few places. Tete Lutsak, I think, who's a Ukrainian designer. She's used it quite extensively. Alex Bird, who's an Estonian designer who's got a book out with Lina as well, I think on modern Estonian designs. She's also used it, but we had only seen it being used in the round. We hadn't seen russamine being knitted flat. So this is we've ended up, I think, both with something. Both ours looks very similar, I think, doesn't it? Yeah. So we're really pleased with how it's worked out, but it was a little bit of a learning curve, wasn't it?
Yes.
Basically what you're doing is you're bringing your contrast yarn to the front while you continue to work knit with your main colour for so many stitches according to the chart, and then you're bringing your contrast colour to the back again, so then you've kind of created this float. But the issue with that then is you, like, how much tension do you leave in order to create something consistent, particularly when you go to block it later on, do you leave a little bit extra, or does that then, or you don't
especially at the end of the row.
Exactly, because you don't want to pull it in, and you don't want to end up with runching either.
No.
So that getting the tension right was a bit of a trial and error. And the other thing is because all of the tutorials we could find were in the round rather than flat, when we did come to our pearl row, I got the two yarns mixed up. So I had the main colour on the bottom rather than the on the top. I'm not describing this terribly
well.
well.
I think the issue is you always have to have your bright colour that's forming the pattern, the contrast, trapped under the main colour.
Mm-hmm.
So the main colour always has to be on the top with the other one trapped underneath.
Because I didn't do that, and because of that, instead of these two strands sitting close together, they had created a gap, didn't they?
Because one was above and one was below.
Exactly, and so they didn't create like a coherent design. They were too far spaced apart.
And the other interesting thing is that we had to use the yarn double to form the pattern.
Yeah, so we just took a strand from the inside of the ball and from the outside of the ball. But I mean, it's very effective. I did find the pearl row was quite challenging.
It took a bit longer,
didn't it? Not least because it's quite difficult to see, to read the chart going back the way, and to ensure that your contrast yarn was on the front side rather than on the back
and
side.
you can't really see how if you make a mistake.
Yeah, so it's harder to read your knitting, I think, and because of that, we did end up taking things back quite a few times. So that took us a wee while, but I think there are 3 sections like this all together. So I think moving forward,
I think we'll get on better next time.
I think we will. I think we will. We're optimists. So yes, it's a mirrored wrap. So the same pattern will be on either side. So it's going to be symmetrical. So not halfway yet.
No, we're not halfway yet.
I have this much left. Oh dear, I'm all tangled with this. I have this much left of my first ball to give you an idea. So I'm hoping that that's going to be enough to get me halfway. I think it will too. I think it will. I'm all tangled in my bag now. But that's so much fun, isn't it?
Yes.
It's been really nice to knit on.
And it really does look woven when it's...
It does, because the word Geweef is Afrikaans for woven. So so yes, it does really have that kind of woven texture. And I think the rissamine really contributes to that too, doesn't it?
Yes, I think it does. Yeah.
So we're excited by the techniques that we've learned. I think we're quite intrigued by how they could be used in other projects, and I think it's sparked some interesting ideas and it's given us a lot of inspiration. So it's very, very intriguing. So no, we're thoroughly enjoying that. So that's everything that's on our needles. Well, it's not everything that's on our needles, is it, Mum?
No.
But that's all we're sharing today. Mum has a pile of whips and I have a pile of whips. We might save that for another day. Well, certainly I will show you the whips that I have next time. But what we thought would be a really lovely thing to show you, instead of going through all of our whips, would be to show you everything that my mum has knitted in 2023, because it's quite a lot.
It is quite
isn't it? And it's very varied. One of the things I love about Mum's knitting is that she consistently knits things that I don't see other people knitting.
You think?
Absolutely. Mum doesn't follow trends.
Not so much.
No. And even if you do knit something that other people have been knitting, for example, when we showed all of your ranunculi last time, you always make it different. You always, look,
add another colour or
you do.
Change something.
Or, you change the stitches, or, you do something quite significantly different. So therefore, sometimes you'll look at something that you've knitted and you've modified it in such a way that you can't even recognise it necessarily for the original design. So she knits really interesting things, and you really do push yourself with exploring different techniques and things, which is why this wrap is so indicative, I think, of how you knit. So we thought we would share some of that. There's shawls, there's tops, there's jumpers. What else? There's shrugs. That's it.
And a hat.
And a hat. So, but we're going to start with the shawl. Yeah. So, what's this shawl, Mum?
This is the Sunweaver shawl by Inese.
Sang.
It's rather large, to say the least.
And this was the first thing that you finished this
rather
year.
Huge. It took me quite a long time to knit it, but it is very pretty. It is
nice. Absolutely stunning, because it uses so many different techniques. So we've got the stranded colour work, but again it's stranded colour work in the flat, isn't it? So you must have done.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to show your floats. Is that okay?
Yes.
Because they're absolutely perfect. Look at those. And that's the right side there. And then we've got this section here, which is that twisted rib?
Yes, I think so.
And then with like a lace detail in the centre, like some eyelets. What did you enjoy most about this project, Mum?
I actually really enjoyed knitting with that yarn.
Yeah. What is the yarn?
It's Mominoki Finnwool fingering in the colours, in the shade Silver Birch.
Which is this. I'm going to hold up close because I think
Silver Birch is really pretty.
It is incredibly pretty. It's got like silver bits. It's actually tonal, isn't it? A bit variegated because it's got like slightly darker shades and lighter.
And the green was sage.
Just this section
and
here.
The pink was framboise. And it feels lovely on the needles.
Yeah.
It flows nicely. I just really like
it. Has
with it.
Blocked beautifully. Look at that colour work. It's also testament to your tension, but it has blocked really, really beautifully. The fabric is really consistent because it's clearly a rustic yarn.
Yes.
That said, it's very soft.
It is soft.
I wouldn't have any concerns about wearing it around my neck as a shawl at all.
It's not scratchy at all.
Yeah.
It's really nice to knit with.
Oh, it's just absolutely stunning. Look at that framboise. So we were just saying that the framboise wasn't quite the colour you were expecting, which is a problem really with ordering yarn online, because quite often, depending on what your screen resolution is and what resolution the photograph's been, or the light the photograph's been taken in, you don't always necessarily get like a really true colour compared with how it appears in the skein when it arrives in the post.
There's quite a blue undertone to that pink, and I thought it was going to be a warmer pink.
We were saying, would we describe this as framboise? We were thinking probably not. What would we describe it as?
We're Scottish,
yes.
So we said thistle.
We said thistle. So we think this is like the colour of a thistle flower.
I actually think of it as being quite Scottish colours.
It is quite Scottish colours, absolutely. Oh, well, it's just absolutely beautiful, man. It sits really nicely, and you know I like a big shawl.
I know, and it is large.
It is a big shawl.
You wouldn't have any trouble wrapping that twice even.
No, I think quite comfortably, and it is such an unusual shape. Yeah. You know, so it starts very narrow. Mm-hmm. Which end did you start from?
The narrow end.
So you started from here.
Yeah, started with just 3 stitches, I think, at the beginning,
and then increased. All the way up to here where you start your decreases. We're going to cover ourselves up here. Hi. and then we're going to go all the way. Wow. And this is your cast off here.
That's the cast off. Yeah.
Gosh. That's a lot of knitting, Mum.
That was a lot of knitting.
And I'm just looking at your notes here, and it says you cast on the 30th of December. And she cast off on the 16th of January. So that's just over 2 weeks.
It was quite bad weather.
It was bad weather. Mum has been doing a lot of work in the garden. Mum and Dad have been doing a lot of work in the garden. But however, there's no work really to do in the garden in December, January.
No,
So.
I was just knitting all day, every day.
Yeah. But this is just absolutely beautiful. She's got a lot of really lovely patterns, Inese.
She does. She
yeah.
does.
When we saw this one with the colour work, I don't think I've seen any that's got this kind of stranded colour work. I just think it's a really special shawl. So really beautiful. So that was your first.
That was the first.
That was the first. Wait till you see the second. Okay, I'm going to fold this up while you take the second one out, and then you can see what you've.
Wait, I need to check.
To get our notes.
My memory's not as good as Amy's. I can't remember the names and whatever. This is the pressed flowers cardigan.
It's phenomenal.
By
It's so good.
Amy Christoffers.
Yes.
Is the designer. I think probably quite a lot of people know the pressed flowers pattern.
I think so because, well, she first came out with the pressed flowers shawl, didn't she?
I think so.
And
yes.
then I think there was the pressed flowers. Was it? There's a hat. Is there a cowl?
I'm not sure. There may be.
And then she's also brought out. Most recently, she's brought out a jumper. But just before then, she brought out the cardigan. So Mum has knitted the cardigan, and you've got this fabulous speckled yarn for the contrast colour, and black. Is it a true black or is it more of a charcoal?
It's a charcoal, I think.
I'll hold it up a little bit closer to see. And I'm showing you the fabulous buttons as well because they're all a little bit different as well. Can you say anything about the buttons, Mum?
I can't remember the name of the company.
Oh, yes.
It's a lady in London whose father made glass buttons, and then after his death she was selling, she had a huge amount of glass buttons. I think he made for some of the designers, and she would release monthly, she would release a collection of buttons, and I just thought they were really beautiful.
They are really beautiful. I love how they're all a little bit different. I think that's a really lovely idea. And your contrast colour looks like you've held it with mohair.
Yes, I have.
Yeah? What mohair did you hold that with?
It's a cowgirl blues one, but I can't remember the colour.
We awful like our cowgirl blues.
It's a pink
yarn, which is also
one.
South African dye, isn't it?
It's a pink mohair, but I can't remember the name
and
of the colour.
the speckled yarn
was Trailis, and it's called Birthday Girl.
And Trailis is a Greek hand dyer, isn't she?
Yes, I think so.
And it's a fabulous, bright,
it's very bright when you see
variegated yarn.
Yeah.
But actually, as the contrast, I think that's absolutely beautiful. Will we put it on?
Yes.
I think we need to put this one on. It doesn't go with, well, it certainly doesn't go with what I'm wearing, but
and I'm quite hot.
Okay, well, I'll put it on then. Now, you were just saying that you think it's a little bit big.
It is a little big.
Maybe that just means I have to have it. I'm a bit bigger than Mum. What a shame. Oh, but look at that. I'm going to come a bit closer so you can see the fabric. Now, the fabric is a little bit tricky, isn't it? Because you've got the stockinette and flowers, but actually through the rest of the fabric, it's a texture, isn't it? It's not just straightforward stockinette.
There's mosaic knitting in between. It's a mosaic pattern.
And then you've kind of got garter ridges, yeah.
Yes, I think I did it wrongly in the beginning.
Did you?
Yeah. I do that quite often with these kind of patterns. I also did it wrongly on another one.
Oh, well.
I'm not going to show it. But hey.
Well, sometimes I think, that's part of the practice, isn't it? It's about you make your beginning on it and you see how you get on and then you adjust and before you really get going with it. I think sometimes people have the perception that people who've been knitting for a long time, like you and I, we just cast something on and then it's just straight off the needles and it's perfect. And actually that's certainly speaking from myself,
And me too.
that's not what happens when I knit. As I do make mistakes, like we were just pointing out with the weft wrap, you know, is that we've both made mistakes in that and had to take things back and then knit it back up again. I think the key is not to become demoralised by that and just accept that that's part of knitting, isn't it?
Yes, and sometimes it's something you can live with and sometimes you can't, and you absolutely have to start again.
And you should make up your mind on that pretty quick, because if you
Don't
decide, no, just take it back if you need to.
If in doubt.
Yeah, exactly. Gosh, I'm going to have to take this off as well because it is warm, Mum.
It is warm.
Maybe it's because I think kind of creates this sort of double fabric, doesn't it?
Yes,
That's the inside.
It
Gosh, that's amazing. So we've got, and it's is it DK weight, Mum?
It's it's the Rerum Natura Ulysse with the Mohair.
With the Mohair.
With the Mohair, so that makes it sport maybe. Sport or DK, I'm not sure.
And certainly when you were knitting the body, it was taking you quite a long time, wasn't it? Because each one of the rows
it's very long.
Was quite long.
Right from the front band right around to the band on the other side. Yeah. So yes, the rows were quite long.
Quite intensive. So I've got some of my hair on it now. So.
Oh dear.
It's me claiming it. So I'm going to pop this here. The next one that you knitted.
Oops.
Really is a phenomenal amount to knit. Because what's it been? It's only been 4 months.
4 months.
Yeah.
Yes. I knitted a Beneath the Waves vest that I saw on another podcast, and I just really liked the pattern.
Can you remember what other podcast it was?
Not offhand.
Not off the top of your head.
No.
It's so pretty. What's the yarn, Mum?
That's the Laine des Îles Pennine DK.
Which has just been discontinued.
I know, I'm very sad.
She's very sad. And you did try and go on and get some of the remaining skeins and somebody else had gone on and cleaned it completely out. So there'll be no more. But it does look like is she doing some other yarn base or something? So
this is a BFL DK, and it just
it knits up so beautifully.
It's she only sells a non-superwash. She doesn't sell any superwash yarn, so it's non-superwash, but it feels very soft.
It's very, very soft actually.
And the next project is in the same wool.
Yeah. And it's got quite a sort of silky feel almost actually, doesn't it?
I think it's 100% BFL.
So the waves of I was going to say Waves of Change. It's Beneath the Waves.
Beneath the Waves
vest. Who's the designer, Mum?
Johanna Kunin.
Johanna Kunin.
I don't know any of her other patterns.
So it's kind of like old feather and fan or old shale lace, isn't it? But we've got this addition of bobbles. How did you do your bobbles?
I knew you were going to say
I think I caught you out with this question last time. She just did them. She just did the bubbles.
Whatever the pattern said, I did that.
I can't believe it's the same question. So, there you go. She did bubbles. And you've got this kind of garter panel that runs under the arm, which kind of then divides the textured pattern on front and back, which actually is very effective, isn't it?
And it's very comfortable to wear with a shirt underneath.
Because it's a bit of positive ease, but again, not lots and lots.
No,
and you've got like a 2x2 rib here. Did you do a provisional cast on? A tubular cast on? A tubular
cast on, yes. I just got a tubular cast on.
Fancy. I quite often can't be bothered doing that. Mum I think one of the things that I always notice about your knitting is you really pay attention to the details and you really want things to be finished off in as best a way you possibly can.
Yeah.
So you really sort of draw on your technique toolbox to choose the right technique for the right finishing that you want.
I try to. It doesn't always work out.
Well, I think it's absolutely worked out. It's a triumph on this one.
It's really nice beautiful. With jeans. It's a nice colour with jeans.
But you could even wear it over a dress or something too, couldn't you?
Yes. something like this one.
Yeah.
I think the colour is called Fjord.
Fjord. That's absolutely beautiful. That's an appropriate name of colourway for the name of the
Beneath
pattern,
the waves.
isn't it? Don't know how to get a lot of waves and fjords. I suppose it depends on how big the fjord is. But there we go. That's absolutely beautiful. So that was the third thing that you finished.
Yes.
The next thing that you knitted is quite spectacular. I genuinely have never seen anything quite like this before.
Well, I must be watching a lot of podcasts because I saw Erica Knight on the Fruity Knitting podcast, and she was showing this cardigan that was in her new book, which is called Texture.
It's a bit here.
And I just really loved the idea of this cardigan. That's the back.
That's the back.
This is the front.
Isn't that absolutely exquisite? I just think that's amazing.
And it's in the Pennine DK, the same as the last project.
I was going to say, so you saw it on the Fruity Knitting, and that was such a good episode actually, because it was really very much about creativity, wasn't it?
Yes.
Creative practice.
Yes.
Because she also had her friend on it who's the pianist.
That's correct.
And she interviewed him as well, and they were just really, really interesting. I'm just trying. Oh, there it is. I was just trying to find right at the back. Saltation.
Yeah.
So there you go. There's the image there from the book. So,
And again, it's knitted flat, so you've got colour work in the flat.
yes, you've been doing a lot of that this time round.
Yes.
Here's the back of the. Oops. There we go. So you've got like these loose ends as well.
Yes, which I've left, but I don't know whether I'll leave them.
I like them actually.
Your dad said to me, "Have you forgotten about these bits?" I went, "No, that's how it's supposed to
You're
be."
like, this is fashion, darling.
But I thought the interesting thing was that some of the colour work is deliberately done on the wrong side. So that's the inside, and that's the correct side. Which looks a little like ours, I mean.
It does, doesn't it?
So you have the floats on the outside.
It's quite unlike anything. Like I said, it's quite unlike anything I've seen before. Want me to put it on? This does go a bit better with what I'm wearing, I have to
Yes,
say.
it does actually.
It's a nice shape as well.
It's very comfortable.
The collar is the neckband.
In the winter, it's nice.
Really beautiful. It's almost like a kimono style collar,
a kimono
isn't
style
it?
jacket with the
Yeah,
sleeves
and it's got slightly shorter sleeves as well, isn't it? It's not. It's almost 3/4 length.
Yes, and it's got pockets.
And pockets. There you go. Oh, they're fabby. I like them. And then you've got the split as well
hem,
at the hem.
Yeah.
And it just really kind of comes to sort of a bit hip length, doesn't it? It's not too long.
No.
And this, is it a 3x or 2x2?
2x2, I think.
Rib.
2x2.
It's really nice. And then it's almost like swatches, isn't it?
It is like swatches.
Yeah, that have been kind of woven into the fabric of the cardigan. It's really very unusual. And you've got like a wee band of moss stitch there. How were the pockets done, Mum? Can you remember?
Oh.
They're very smart. It's like you've tacked it down, so you must have
afterwards.
Yeah. Because they really sit beautifully. I didn't even know there was pockets until you pointed that out. Oh, I think this is just absolutely marvellous. And I love your colours as well, because moving from this kind of grey into the warm shades, the gold in the centre. Didn't you have an issue with the colours? Did you run out of?
Oh yes,
I
had 2 skeins of the sea foam, I think it's called, but it was a different dye lot. So I used that for the sleeves because didn't think. Mind you, I think you can see it more on screen than you can see it.
Oh, I don't think.
No, look, no, maybe not. Anyway.
Well, you certainly can't see it in person. I can assure you. I was like, what was the issue? No, it's absolutely beautiful, and it sits really well on my slopey shoulders.
It does actually. It made me think I'd like to knit the same shape of cardigan again, but swap the swatch parts out for different swatches. Maybe from patterns that I've already knitted that I've got the charts for.
Yeah, that would be fun, wouldn't it? It's sort of, it's almost then it's like referencing the previous knits.
Yes.
And you really enjoyed the book, don't you?
Yes. I haven't knitted anything else yet, but there are other patterns in it that I really like.
It's a really beautiful...
I like her aesthetic.
Her aesthetic is very interesting, isn't it?
Yes, and it's all based on nature.
This would certainly keep you cosy. Wouldn't it?
Yes. That is a big knit.
That is a huge knit. Oh, I really like this one. I thought that was very pretty. But there's lots and lots of really nice patterns in it, and they are quite different. I only really knew Erica Knight from her baby knits. Like the knits for cherished babies. I think I knitted quite a few of those for my babies when they were
and
tiny.
she has a line in yarn as well. The local wool.
Oh yes, so she does.
Knight.
And that's the BFL Massam base. No, she's got some lovely yarn bases now. So there we go. That's this. What's it called, Mum? What's this?
Saltation.
Saltation cardigan. And like I said, it's unlike anything I've seen. And I think you've done such a beautiful job. And as always, it's exquisitely knitted. Just lovely. Gosh, can you believe this is? And there's more. This is not. This is 4 months worth of knitting. It's incredible. So next up.
Oh dear, I always forget the name of the designer.
It's the Daisy, isn't it?
Yes. I can't remember.
Daisy by Moonstruck Knits, who's Natasha Hornby.
That's right.
Yeah. And this is
my version.
It's just amazing. You were wearing it yesterday and it just sits so nicely on you, Mum.
I like the neckline.
Again, nice. It's the same as the top that you're wearing in that it's got positive ease because it's got this kind of dolman shape, but then it comes back in at the waist.
Yes.
So it's got a really lovely fit.
And it's Sakami. Sakami merino and bamboo.
And is it a sport weight or a fingering weight?
It's it's fingering weight. Yeah.
So that's this one here, and also for the flowers, which is what you had to switch out because you didn't have enough of the main colour.
It's supposed to have the grey round the bottom, round the waist, but I didn't have enough left. So
and this is a basket weave texture,
which doesn't show up too well in the pattern.
See if you can hold. Here you go. You can see it there.
But I love how the details of it. Don't knit this pattern if you don't like knitting welts.
There you go.
Because there are a lot of welts round the sleeve, across the top, across the bottom,
down
round the sides. Yeah. There are a lot of welts.
And the flowers are done by mosaic knitting, aren't they?
Yes, and that's not quite correct, but almost.
That doesn't matter because it looks amazing.
And you start by knitting the front panel at the bottom corner, and you knit it diagonally, and then you knit the back panel, and then you pick up the stitches over and cast on over the shoulder and pick up over. And
you followed instructions for a slight modification.
I did. Because I didn't want the neckline to be too low, so you can pick up extra stitches on the front and cast on slightly less over the shoulder.
Yes.
So you end up with the same number of
So it
stitches.
kind of shortens
It shortens
the neck.
the shoulder section. And it has really nice shaping over the shoulder. I don't know if you'll be able to. Not really. It's not really showing up. No. And it has nice shaping over the shoulder. And it sits quite nicely.
And even on the back, you know, you've got this colour work. Bands.
It looks like stitch. It looks like large
stitches. It does
stitches.
look like large stitches, doesn't it?
Yes. I find her patterns are really detailed and there's a lot of changing of needles in that pattern because the whelps are on different size needles from the colour work.
Which is the same as our Geweef as well, isn't it?
Yes, that's
right. There are changing of needle sizes because the different techniques create different gauges, but if you're creating a coherent piece of fabric, then you need to make sure that the gauge is remaining consistent. Yeah. So changing the needle size is quite important.
Yeah. And I've since knitted another one of these for my mum's birthday.
Which we'll maybe pop a little photograph up of. And you followed the instructions, you didn't do the same modification for that one?
No, I didn't.
Grandma doesn't like having any fabric, any garments that kind of come up too far. So Mum just followed
the instructions
for that.
And it's in the same colour as the Inese song Sunweavers. Mum's one is in those colours.
Is in these colours here.
She likes green.
She does. She looked beautiful in it. So we'll share a wee photograph of that. So not only has she knitted one, but she's knitted two of these. And that's actually the one that you knitted for Grandma is your most recent knit.
That's right.
That's the one that's most recently off the needle. So this was done a little while ago.
Yeah, that's right.
When did you do this one? This was 19th of February to the 1st of March.
Yeah, that's
There
right.
you go. So we're up to March, people.
Too far to go.
It's really beautiful, Mum. Really lovely. And is all the yarns a cami, or is it just the?
I think the white is not.
Right.
The other two are as a cami, but not.
And what was the white?
I think it was Cowgirl Blues. I think.
Like a single ply merino.
Did I write that down?
Looks like.
Oh no, it wasn't. I'm telling a lie. It's Cocon Merino Linen.
Ah.
It's Cocon.
It's beautiful.
Or however you say that.
Yes, no, that's how I would say that.
A mix of merino and linen. That's what it is.
Next jumper. Is this one. I just love the colour of this so much. Look at the deep rib on this. Isn't that epic? And in fact, this is what you were wearing on the plane when we came over from.
That's right.
Yeah, so it sits beautifully. So what's this one called?
This is the Frankie Genser.
Frankie Genser.
From, I didn't bring the other book.
Is it in here? So I think you saw this book on Inga's knitting traditions.
No, it's not it.
It's okay.
Oh, there it is.
Is that it?
Yes.
Yeah, there we go.
There it is.
So it's a sandless gown.
Mine is a slightly different shade.
But it's the same one on the cover.
Sweater. Sandless gown.
Yeah, and I think you saw this on Inga's Knitting Traditions podcast.
Mm-hmm.
She's knitted quite a few designs, I think, from this one. Mm-hmm. And you managed to get a hold of
I got a copy of
the book.
Mm-hmm.
And what have you knitted this one in, Mum?
It's in the Rerum Natura Ulysse in the colour Emerald and Kremke Silky Kid Mohair.
Oh, it's absolutely beautiful. So is the mohair slightly lighter shade?
Yes, slightly lighter in colour.
Because it's created the most beautiful marl.
Slightly marl.
And one of the interesting things about this is the raglan, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not a straightforward raglan,
No.
which you can maybe see a little bit here. So can you say a little bit about that, Mum?
I'm not sure if you call that an S shape or there's also a J shape. It's a steeper decrease. Increase, sorry, because I'm going from the top.
Going from
a
the
steeper
top,
increase and then more shallow and then steeper again.
And what does that do for the shaping?
I think it just makes it sit. I mean, most of us are not
Straight down.
straight diagonal down here, so I think it makes it sit nicer over the shoulder, and also the way the neckline is done, it just sits really nicely. I also don't like things
Anything too high up.
riding up onto my neck, so it sits really nicely the way the short rows are done.
And then you've got this amazing deep rib.
That took quite a while.
I was going to say that would take you quite a while.
Twisted rib.
Is it twisted rib?
It's twisted
Oh my
rib.
goodness, Mum.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
twisted rib.
It's beautiful. It's really, really lovely. And you really enjoy wearing this one.
Yes, I do.
Would you say
It's
this is
quite
one of your favourite knits so far of this year?
Probably, yes.
To wear?
To wear, yes.
Mhm.
To wear.
But I think we're moving into the season now where
No.
we're not going to get
They're
a
all
whole lot more wear out of this one.
They're all going to be going away.
We need to revisit
Now,
this one
probably.
again. And this has also got a folded neckband.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yes.
To have another slip of my water. Oh. Yeah, it's absolutely beautiful, Mum. I really love this one. Will I try it on quickly and then we'll see what it looks like, just so we can see that S raglan. There you go. Oh, that's really lovely. So you can see that it comes along here and then cuts down and then along. Oh dear, Mum, I think I need to knit myself one of these as well.
You're going to be busy the rest of the year.
I think my queue's just doubled in size. Oh, and that fabric feels so nice.
It does, doesn't it?
Oh,
it
it's
actually
really
feels.
soft.
It actually feels thicker, or it's quite.
it does.
It's quite dense actually.
It is.
I can't remember what the needles. Oh, it's 3.5 for the rib and 4.5 for the main body, but it feels quite dense.
It has created quite a dense fabric, hasn't it? It's got a nice weight to it. Oh, I don't think I want to take this off now. It's lovely. I'm just going to keep it on. So the next one.
Yes, we've got two of the Saturday
Shrugs,
I
yeah,
think so.
by Jackie Rose of the Caddy Jacks Knit
Yeah.
podcast.
So one is in this colourway, and this is knitted with quite inexpensive yarn. I think it's from the Danish shop. I don't know how you say it.
Sostren
Sostren, which I think means Green
Sisters.
Sisters. Yes. They do a kind of bulky weight yarn, and then I just use two other yarns of theirs to do the stripes.
So this is it's a very simple but very elegant pattern, isn't it? I don't imagine since you've knitted it you've had much cause to wear it because
A
it's
little.
yeah.
It's been cold in the garden some days.
Some days
I put it on. And
it's been a bit of a colder beginning to the season here, hasn't it? Than it was it was last year.
yeah.
But you are beginning to get some hotter days now.
it's
When the
warmer
sun comes out, you can certainly feel it, can't you?
Yeah.
The sun is out just now. The garden is absolutely glorious.
And then I had another shade of the bulky yarn, so I thought I'd
this
just knit another one. And I used just odds and ends of mohair and wool from my stash, leftovers to do the stripes.
This feels lovely, Mum.
It's nice,
It
isn't
really is. I
Yarn.
love that
It's very
colour.
inexpensive, the yarn. It's not expensive at all.
I wear my shrugs all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I think because it keeps this part of me warm. I feel like I lose a lot of heat
Yes.
here.
Especially in the Edinburgh wind.
Yes, especially living by the harbour, because we get a lot of the cold weather coming off the water. So it really does keep this part of me really kind of cosy, but leaves my arms free to do whatever it is that I'm doing. It's so pretty. I love this. Do you see this? It's because the white's got like pink and green flecks in it, which are then picked up through your stripes.
It's very pretty, isn't it?
It is
the
so
yarn.
pretty.
Mm-hmm.
And the same with this. Like, I'll hold it up close so you can see how pretty these these stripes are.
Maybe two shades marling together in the stripes.
It's just
'Cause it
really,
was
really
thinner
lovely.
yarn.
And what, you've got like a sparkle through this as well.
Oh yes. That's a mohair with the sparkle from Fildar.
Okay.
I forgot I had that.
You can
in
see
there.
the sparkle. Maybe not.
It's got a gold
It's got
sparkle,
a gold sparkle through
in
it.
the mohair.
It's really pretty. Because it's quite subtle. It's not, you know, it's really lovely. So there we go. 2 shrugs.
2 shrugs. We're nearly done.
We've got 1 more jumper. That's amazing, Mum. We should have tried to figure out in kilometres how many kilometres of yarn has Mum knit.
Dear. I don't know.
That's like
I
a
can't
summer
find
fair
this one.
question, isn't it?
Yeah.
Can you guess? Give them a pile of knitting and say how many kilometres of yarn is here.
Yes.
So this is the Sophie sweater by Eri Shimizu.
Which is not finished off yet.
I don't
for
know.
reasons that
I was
will
going to say,
become clear.
I don't know what you've been doing with yourself, Mum.
Knitting the new shawl.
Oh dear, yes, good point. But this is knitted in Manchalope, which is a really lovely yarn from Wool Dreamers. It's an unspun yarn, so it looks like pencil roving, but unlike some of the pencil roving that I've seen, this is actually doubled up, isn't it?
Yes,
so
it
it's
comes
like
off
double
the skein
strand.
double.
So you get these plates, don't you? That
Yes.
have been.
Yeah.
And you bought quite a few different colours.
I have,
Yeah. Was this the first? Is this
It's
the
the
first
first
time you used it?
Yes,
Though?
it is.
One thing I would say is that because I've knitted with Let Lopi, not Let Lopi, I have knitted with Let Lopi, but I've knitted with Plotalopi, which is the Icelandic pencil roving unspun yarn, and I've also knitted with the Nutiden, and this doesn't feel like either of those.
Does it not?
It's quite a specific texture. It's very soft. It's not. I don't think it's scratchy at all. It doesn't have. But it feels loftier. It's got like a real kind of bounciness to the yarn, doesn't it?
I kind of wish I'd knitted it together with a mohair though.
Do you?
Yes.
And why?
I don't know. I'm worried it's going to pill, and I thought it would have given it a bit more strength.
Yeah.
But then
I would say it's created a very matte fabric. You know? So you can see it there. So there's no like shiny.
No.
It's a very matte texture that it's created. It's very light.
It is.
It's a very
light.
fun sweater. Do you want to say a bit about the design, Mum?
Well, I think you're supposed to embroider bits afterwards, but I just knitted some. Knitted some bits in, and I haven't decided whether I'm going to sew those in, pull them off, leave them as they are.
So we had a question. That's the back seam, isn't it?
Yes, it's got a pearl stitch down
To create a back seam.
and also down the sleeves.
Does it have it on the? Oh, it's got kind of rib down
It's
the
got rib down the edge, and it's got
underneath the arm.
the pearl stitch seam down the sleeve as well.
So yes, we had a question, didn't
Yes, I haven't finished off the ends because that one's broken off.
So that's maybe answered the question for that one.
There's a clue. I'm afraid to put it at the bottom of the sleeves, I think. I'm afraid to try and finish these off because I think that they will just the yarn will just disintegrate when I try and thread it through the needle.
Yeah.
So I'm not quite sure what to do about that.
So we wondered if you have knitted with unspun yarn before, what was your tip for finishing off the loose ends? You know, rather than weaving them in, perhaps is there another way? Because as I was just saying, Mum is always, building up your technique toolbox, and it would be good to know like how best to finish this one off. So this one obviously is not going to be worn anytime
No,
soon
no.
because it really is quite. It
quite
feels
thick.
cozy, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I'm not even going to try this one
No.
on just now. I think I would expire. But
And what do you think I should do with all these ends? Should I leave them, pull them off, or take them through to the back?
Because in
It
some
was
ways,
reminding me of the saltation.
that's what I was about to say as well. Absolutely.
Yeah,
So like the loose ends left intentionally.
yeah. I just did it random, ad
Yeah.
hoc, so
Yeah.
knitted some other colours in as I was going along. I didn't embroider it at the end as you're supposed to, I don't think.
But it is absolutely beautiful, and you see in the Mancholope as well. You've got these kind of little flecks and things of other colours. It is really beautiful. The Mancholope is from the Manchego sheep,
Yes.
isn't it?
And finally, my very large hat.
So we had one last project, and I think Mum was in two minds about whether she was going to show you this project or not. But the fabric is glorious. It's
Every time I try to knit with alpaca, the things end up enormous. So I knitted a very large hat.
Are you trying it on or am I?
You're trying on.
Okay. So I'm going to try the large hat on. So what is your yarn and what is the pattern?
Oh my goodness, I can't remember. It's one of Sari Nordland's hats. That's because I had that lovely Suri alpaca. I wanted to start at the crown so that I could use all of the yarn and not waste any.
But I don't think you wasted any yarn, Mum.
No, I can't.
I think you used up every scrap you had.
I can't remember the name of the pattern. I don't think I
Oh, we can
it
pop
down.
that up. We'll pop it up afterwards. That's fine,
Yeah.
Mum. And the yarn, though, is this beautiful Suri alpaca,
Yes,
which is, I will lean forward.
together with something else, but I can't remember what now.
Okay, we'll pop those details in the show notes. But yes, it was your hat that ended up larger. I have to say, I don't think it looks much bigger when it's off my head than when it's on my head. I've got a little bit of a slouch. But
Oh my.
that's a look. So yes, I probably wouldn't wear it like that. I probably wear it like that. But yes, there we go. That was the last
That was
project.
the last one.
Oh my goodness. So we did go to Stephanie's, My Little My, which is the local yarn shop in Cognac. Cognac's about an hour from here.
Just under an
Yeah.
hour. Yeah.
And so we popped
By
in
car.
there and we treated ourselves to some yarn. So we thought we would share that with you as well.
Just quickly.
Just a few,
it's
not very
much.
many acquisitions. And then a couple of things that are bringing us joy. And then we thought we would take you for a little walk around the neighbourhood. So that's what we've got coming up next. So let's start with what we bought, because we bought the same base of
Yes.
yarn, didn't we?
Yes.
Which is this here. It's a soft silk, which is by BC Garn. And I think I've called this soft silk DK in the past, and it's not a DK at
No.
all. I think it's 350 metres,
Yes.
isn't it?
Yes,
Yes, it's 350
350.
metres. So it's more of a sport weight.
Our colours
Yeah,
look really
they
nice
do, don't
together.
they? In fact, they're quite similar to your... your here we go.
Oh, that one. I thought you were going to say to the stripes in the shrug.
Oh yes, that too. We've obviously got a colour theme going on. So these colourways, as so often with I think commercial yarn, don't have a name.
No.
They have numbers instead, and you're never all that sure about.
No.
But so I think it's
Which number?
SS015 for this one, and this one is SS040. And this is like a hot coral, isn't it?
Yes.
And this is like a really beautiful jade green.
Mm-hmm.
So you got 2 skeins,
Yes, I did.
and I got 3 skeins of mine. And I actually...
Because it's colder in Edinburgh.
It is, and I need more coverage. But I bought... So I've knitted with this before, in fact twice, because... In fact, is it down there? No, it's over there. I knitted a shawl using the gold soft silk, and I've knitted a top which is kind of in a khaki colour, which was the Ginkgo by Melody Hoffman, and my shawl is the Hipster by Hoki Locatelli. And last year I bought some kind of like a cinnamon colour, and again I bought 3 skeins, and I was really swithering between the cinnamon or this coral. So when I went back this time and I haven't seen this yarn anywhere else. So when I went back to my little Mai, I thought, it was the yarn. You know, when sometimes you leave a place, or there's a festival or a shop that you're not going to be going back to for a while, then there's always like one type of yarn that you think, I should have just bought it. That was this for me. So I have now treated myself to some of that.
And it is 100% silk.
It is.
Actually feels like it could have cotton in it.
It's because it's a matte silk. It's not shiny.
No, it's not shiny.
I suppose, do they call it a burette silk?
Burette.
Yes, burette silk. That's what it says on the front there. So it's not a shiny silk. It's matte. It's very, very lovely and soft. I really enjoy wearing my pieces that I've knitted using this. My shawl, I would say, is my summer shawl. It's the shawl that I wear all summer long.
Summertime.
In fact, I'm just going to go quickly grab it. Okay. Here it is. I should have pulled it over beforehand, but there we go. This is my hipster shawl, and that's in this burette silk. And like I say, I wear this all the time. It's got these fabulous little tassels on it.
You're showing the back, I think.
Am I?
I'm not sure.
I can never really tell with it, to be completely honest. Which is the beauty of it, really. It doesn't matter which way I put it on. I can't really tell the difference. Oh, you can see the chevron texture pattern a bit better on this side.
That's the right side.
So yes, I wear this shawl all the time in the summertime. I just love it.
And it goes with lots of colours.
It does.
It really suits you, that shade. Matches your eyes.
Oh. It's an easy piece to wear, I think, and it's just easy to throw on, and it's good to cover up a little bit, because I burn very easily.
Me too.
So we're very pale, aren't we? and so yes, I need a bit of a cover up. Or sometimes when you're going into the shops, they've got their air conditioning turned on full, and it can be really pretty chilly.
It can.
So having this kind of to throw on is quite helpful.
Especially in the supermarket, it's cold sometimes.
And you bought some other yarn for a summer top?
Yeah, I bought in a slightly paler colour than that. It's a gold. I don't think they have names either. Oh yes, it does. It's called that word that's very difficult to say. Tilu. It's a tree. It's the name of a tree and a tea.
Oh.
Anyway,
there you go.
It's this shade, and it's a linen. It's a linen yarn,
and it's Fonte Antigone. No, it's not Fonte. It's Rerum Natura.
It's Rerum Natura Antigone.
That's a beautiful colour. So you got 3 balls of that.
I've got 3 balls.
Yeah.
And I'm swithering about whether to knit another rose root.
Rose root.
Which I've knitted several times already.
If you want to see Mum's rose root tops, then go back and watch episode 30, because I think we showed off some of your summer...
Oh, did we?
I think
we
did.
Remember.
I think we showed off some of your summer tops in that one.
I like that. I like the way that it sits across the shoulder and in the linen. It's nice and cool.
Yeah, and it's got comfort. It's quite comfortable around the armholes, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what you bought, and the one thing that I then left thinking I should have bought, which I do this all the time, was the Make It Tweed.
Oh yes.
And then Mum said, well, that's okay, because she has 2 balls of it, so she gave me her 2 balls so she can go and pick up some more when she's there, because she'll be back at my little Mai long before I am, I'm sure. But there we go. This is the Make It Tweed. It's by Rico Designs, and it is 475 metres for 50 grams. So a little goes a long way. There's 2 balls here. And basically what you're doing is you're holding a strand of this.
It's very fine.
with your yarn to make it a tweed yarn. It's a very clever idea. And so there's this one, and then there's Make It Rainbow, isn't there? Which is like, this has got like a white base to it, whereas the Make It Rainbow has a black base to it, doesn't it? And you're currently knitting a project with that too. Yeah. So I was trying to persuade Mum to share more on our Instagram.
I'm not very tech savvy.
So she could share more of her beautiful projects there. But yes, this is the Make It Tweed with the white base. So I'll need to find a nice project to put these two together. They do look a little bit different in the ball, don't they?
I maybe have given you two different
dye lots.
So I'll have to
have a wee look.
I'll have to check that out.
But there we go.
Because I have other ones
cool.
upstairs.
The other thing that I bought from there was this, which is a tape measure. Because my tape measure that I use a lot, the little metal end came off in my hand. And I thought to myself, oh, I'll need to be really careful with that. And then I pressed the button in the centre and it went zoop, and it disappeared, swallowed up the tape measure. And that was that. So so I picked up this little one here. I've actually not opened it since I got it, but you can see it on the outside there. It's a wooden one. It's got little sheep on it, and it's a Knit Pro.
Are you sure you didn't buy a yo-yo?
It does rather look like a yo-yo. I hope I didn't, because that's not quite so useful to me. But I thought that's
as long as a piece of string.
I will tell you. But that's my ball winder, my Swift, and now my tape measure broken. So hopefully that's the three things.
You're obviously overusing them.
I clearly am. Well, not as much as you, I don't think.
How much have you knitted this year?
I don't know. I'll need to go when I get home. Maybe I'll have a look through and see what I've knitted over the course of this year.
We'll do a tally.
I've got, at the moment, I feel like I've got a lot of works in progress and not many not many finished objects, because I just went a bit mad. I just like cast on lots of things. Wild abandon. So but we did have we've got two other acquisitions which aren't necessarily yarny related, but we had to go to the gravel sales room.
Oh yes.
To pick up to order some gravel. We didn't pick up the gravel because there's a lot of it.
We didn't pick up 4 tons of gravel.
We didn't pick up 4 tons of gravel. We ordered it. However, while we were at the gravel sales room, it turned out that they had really lovely baskets. So we bought ourselves a basket. Who would have thought? Aren't they fabulous? And mine, I think, is the exact colour of the Geweef shawl.
Your project is matching your
Whereas
basket.
yours, look. And the shrug as well.
And the shrug.
Oh, look.
Oops.
There you go. That's absolutely spot on. Or all the knits. So yes, we picked up those, and then at the weekend we went to how would you describe it? Like a botanical festival, like a garden
fete.
A garden fete. So basically, there was lots of people selling plants. But there was other things as well. There was jewellery, there was garden ornaments, there was garden furniture, there were like tinctures and soaps and all kinds of things, wasn't there? It was really lovely, and it was set in the grounds of a beautiful chateau called Chateau de Mornay, and they had a fantastic old tree right in the centre just as you walked through. It was a 400-year-old plane tree. It was enormous, incredibly beautiful. And so we had good fun kind of wandering around there. You had been there last year.
Yeah, we went last year. It's just at this time of year each year.
And so last year, you and Dad had chosen a rose each. And then when they got home, they planted them in the garden with great effort, because the soil here is very hard.
It is.
Isn't it?
It is.
So this time, you had prepared the ground beforehand.
We did.
And this time we each chose a rose. So we came home with 3 roses.
Yeah.
And my rose is called Sweet Love, so I'll pop a little picture up of it here, and it's looking beautiful, and it's got a very strong fragrance to it, actually, that one. And Mum chose one called
Abracadabra.
Abracadabra. We were trying to analyse what did our choice of rose say about us. I think abracadabra, look what I've knitted in 4 months. Magical. Magical Mum. So she picked up the abracadabra, and Dad picked up a beautiful one called Sentimental, didn't he?
Yeah.
Sentimental.
He did.
And it's so his one is like a white and red variegated one, which is really lovely. And yours is like a kind of like a red and a yellow, and in some of the blooms they're all red, and some of them are all yellow, and some of them are a mix of the two.
And that's what's supposed to be special.
The abracadabra part. So you got those all planted in the garden.
Yeah.
And they're looking beautiful. So that was our other acquisition.
Acquisition at the weekend.
So we have yarn, baskets, and roses.
What could be better?
I know. And we just wanted to share a few things that have been bringing us joy. One is that this is wisteria season.
Mm-hmm.
The wisterias here are absolutely gorgeous. When you left to go to Scotland on the 20th, you said that the wisteria weren't out at that point. No. So they really just have bloomed over the last week.
In the last week, yeah.
The wisteria in Mum and Dad's garden is over by kind of like, what would you call that?
A pergola.
A pergola. Which is, and underneath that is the table and chairs where you can eat outdoors. And in the summertime, the wisteria leaves really provide the shade and provide the cover. Because without that, it's pretty exposed, isn't it? But right now is when the flowers all come out and the leaves have just started to bloom. So they've not really kind of extended. They're just still very new. But the blossoms are absolutely stunning. So you have did we identify it as a Japanese?
Yes.
A Japanese wisteria.
The flowers are more elongated than the other ones, aren't they?
They look very elegant. They really are very elegant. And you said that you would have had more.
Yeah, the frost got some.
The frost swallowed some up. In fact, last year the frost got all of them, and it didn't.
Most of them.
And it hardly bloomed at all. But this year you have got some.
Yeah.
And yesterday we went to another place that's been bringing us joy, Lavallee, which is a sculptor park, and I shared lots of video footage of that in episode 30 when I was here last summer. But you'll also see a video of that from yesterday over on my Instagram. So if you want to go and check that out, you can see. But after that, we went to the square in the village, and there was a restaurant there that had a fabulous old wisteria. It looked really old because the trunk on it was
and twisted.
It was incredible. And it was in full bloom, and it was truly spectacular.
Just glorious, wasn't it?
And we've also...
And a very strong scent as well.
It did, didn't it?
Smelled like jasmine.
Yeah, it meant that when we got back here, we were giving our wisteria here a bit of a sniff. It does have a fragrance too.
It does.
But we've also discovered, since all of the wisteria has been in bloom, that it also comes in white. Yes. And you spotted a pink one.
At the garden.
At the garden fete.
A pink one.
So we didn't know that it came in other colours as well. So that was an education. So that's been lovely. And the iris is in bloom just now as well.
Yeah.
So, and you've got about 3 or 4 different types of iris in the garden. So they've been beautiful. And we've got one that's just about to come out, I think, which looks like a very kind of dark maroon.
Yeah. Reddish one.
So the race is on to see if it's going to bloom before I go home or not. I might need a photograph of it when I get home if it hasn't. And then the last thing that's bringing us joy is our summer plans, because actually we hadn't seen each other in person this year until you came over for Grandma's birthday. And in fact, when would have been the last time I would have seen you? Must have been October previous year. Yeah. So it's been so lovely to spend it's been a bit longer than a week because it was supposed to be a week, but my flight got cancelled yesterday because of a strike. And so instead, I've got a couple of extra days. So it's been so lovely to spend that together. And then next month is my brother's wedding. So Mum and Dad are coming back over for that. And then in July, we're coming back over to visit you. My husband Frank and I are coming over for a week. So we're really looking forward to that. So we've got lots of time to spend together. So.
Yeah.
So my loves, that's all of the knitting. That's all that's bringing us joy for just now. But we are going to go for a wee walk around our neighbourhood, and I thought it would be a really lovely thing if you wanted to join us. So let's go and do that just now. And after that, the next time I will see you, I'll be back in Scotland, providing that my flights don't continue to get cancelled. In which case I'll end up coming back in the car in June. And yes, I'll be back with a regular episode with all of my knitting, which I did not bring with me on this trip. So my loves, we will see you all then soon, and yeah, thank you for being with us today. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.